This is another one of Fitness Blender's fat burning cardio workouts. In this routine, we've got 12 intervals in an A-B-A-B format, doing 40 seconds on and 15 seconds off. Now we've included a yoga cool down, but we haven't included a warm up, so you'll want to make sure you get one of those in on your own. So go ahead and pause it here and get your warm up in. Otherwise, if you've already gotten it done, let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise, the side lunge jacks. Remember, 40 seconds on, 15 seconds off. And start up. Lunging off to the side, you're going to lunge down to a nice deep side lunge and then pop up, bring one leg, that outside leg, up nice and high, drop right back into that same lunge and then cross over the other side. What you're doing is forcing your body to put all that weight on that one outside leg to force yourself back up, so that inside leg you want to keep nice and straight. Just keep alternating back and forth. Nice, relatively quick motion. You don't want to move too quickly. You always want to keep it under control, but move pretty fast back and forth. Make sure your body's staying really nice and rigid. Keep those lungs open, making sure all those muscles through your core as well as those legs are nice and tight. Got just a few seconds left. And let it relax. So just jog in place for your active rest, or you can just walk in place. Whatever you do, don't stop moving. Now our next exercise is going to be a walk down plank plus a jump squat. Let's go ahead and get ready for that. And start up. Slowly walk out with those hands. Go down to that full plank. So nice straight line from shoulder to ankle. Then come right back up again, walking up with those hands. Doing a nice quick jump squat at the top. Then right back down again. It's a relatively quick motion back and forth. Make sure you're keeping those arms nice and rigid. Make sure you're keeping that back nice and rigid. Don't let those hips droop down too low when you drop out into that full plank. Make sure you keep those hips nice and low to start out that jump squat. Just keep alternating back and forth. Keep those lungs open. Keep those core muscles nice and tight. Nice flat back the entire time. Just alternating back and forth. And just 5 seconds left. Keep it going. And let it relax. Good job. All right, we're going to be moving back to that side lunge jack. Remember, we're doing this in an A-B-A-B format, so you got to do each exercise twice through. Got just a few seconds left. And start up. Lunging off to the side, kick that leg out, lunge again, then come back over to the other side. Make sure you're getting that leg up really nice and high. Try to keep that leg as straight as you can as you bring it up. That rear leg, the one you're standing on, make sure that leg is locked out. You want to always put 100% of that effort on that outside leg. Just keep alternating back and forth. Core muscles nice and tight. Keep those lungs open. Keep moving back and forth. You're probably feeling it in those legs quite a bit. You just have about 10 seconds left to go, so keep pushing through it. We're almost done with this exercise. 5 seconds left. And let it relax. Good job. That means we're coming back around to our next round of those walk down plank and jump squats. So go ahead and get ready for those. We've got just a few seconds left until we start. And start them up. Walk down with those hands out to that full plank position. Walk them back up. Squat down nice and deep. Do that jump squat and back out again with those hands. Make sure every single time you drop out into that plank, you're going for a full plank. So nice straight line from shoulder to ankle up on those hands and toes. Now make sure you're also keeping those lungs open, those core muscles nice and tight. Make sure you're pushing 100% into that jump squat every single time, and you're really focusing on that form every time you go out into that plank. Just keep alternating back and forth between those two positions, making sure you're keeping everything nice and tight. Only have a few seconds left to go. 5 more seconds. Push through it as hard as you can. One more nice hard jump. And let it relax. Good job. And we're going to move on to our next two exercises, which is going to be a surfer burpee for this first one. Remember, 40 seconds on. And start up. When you come up into that burpee, you're going to come up sideways rather than straight in front. So it's very, very similar to a regular burpee. The only difference is you're going to be alternating those feet, which direction you have them pointed. So instead of coming straight up in line with those hands and those hips, you're actually going to rotate your hips and feet off 90 degrees from where you started. So either rotating to the left or to the right, alternating every single time. Also with this version of a burpee, you want to make sure you keep those hips really nice and low. A traditional burpee, you're actually going to either jump or stand up completely straight at the top. With this one, you're going to stay down in a hovered squat, so you want to keep those hips really nice and low. Got just a few seconds left to go. Try to get a couple more repetitions in. And let it relax. Good job. Active rest. Get up on those feet. Let's get ready for our next exercise, which is going to be 3 side shuffles plus a tap. So there's 3 steps in one direction, then you're going to squat down nice and low, tapping that hand to the ground. Let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Off to the left, drop it down nice and low. Back off to the right, drop it down nice and low. Just keep alternating back and forth. Make sure you're getting a nice quick shuffle motion with those feet. When you drop down into that squat, if you want it to be a little bit harder, try to keep that chest more straight up and down. Do more of the motion with just those legs. It'll make those legs have to work a lot harder. Otherwise, you can tip over from that chest just a little bit more. That'll cause those lower back muscles and those glute muscles to work a little bit harder, but those legs to work a little bit less. Just choose which version you want to try, which one you want to push for. Just keep it going. You've got just about 5 seconds left to go. And let it relax. Go ahead and move those feet, active rest. Let's go ahead and get ready to move back into those surfer burpees. 5 more seconds. And start up. Nice quick burpee motion. Hop those feet off 90 degrees from the angle you started. Then pop it back out. Switch sides. Just keep alternating back and forth, left then right. Making sure you get those feet all the way back out to that full burpee position. Keeping those hips down nice and low every single time you bring those feet back up underneath you. Remember, the focus is to try to keep those hips really low when you come up rather than standing up like a traditional burpee. Just keep alternating back and forth. Keep those core muscles nice and tight and those lungs open. We're almost done, just 5 seconds left. Keep it going. Try to get one more. And let it relax. Get that active rest going. We've got another round of those 3 side shuffles plus a tap. Just 5 seconds left till we start. And begin. 3 steps to the left, drop down, touch the ground. 3 steps to the right, drop down again. Remember, make sure to keep that chest up straight if you want to make those legs have to work a little bit harder. Otherwise, bending over from those hips, keep that back flat, will make it a little bit easier, but still work those glutes and that lower back. Just keep it going, keep those lungs open, make sure all those muscles stay nice and tight. And we're almost done. Keep it going. And let it relax. Good job. Let's go and get ready for our next 2 exercises. Our first one is going to be a high plank row plus a side star. Now go ahead and grab some dumbbells if you have them handy. Otherwise, body weight is just fine. Let's go and start up. Be coming up into a plank position, rotating off to the side. Press that dumbbell up over top of your shoulder, then rotate back around, just alternating back and forth. Now, if you have dumbbells, it definitely makes this exercise much more difficult, but like I said before, you don't necessarily need them at all. So just make sure you have that really specific motion of that row, pulling that dumbbell up towards your shoulder, rotate, and then press it up away from you, getting a nice big straight line from wrist to wrist before rotating back over and dropping that dumbbell back down. We've got just a few more seconds to go until we're done with this exercise and move on to our next. And go ahead and let it relax. Let's move on to our active rest. Our next exercise is going to be a 5-pulse jump squat. So you'll be pulsing 5 times down at the bottom, then jump really nice and hard. So 5 seconds till we start that up. And begin. 5 pulses. And jump as hard as you can. Nice hard jump. Remember, every single time you do that jump squat, make sure you're pushing 100% into it. Try to keep those hips down as low as you can while you're doing those pulses. Make sure those lungs stay open. Make sure those core muscles stay nice and tight, as well as those legs and arms. We're almost done. Keep pushing 100% on that jump squat. Keep those hips down nice and low. Just a few seconds left. And let it relax. Good job. Get those feet moving for that active rest, that boxer shuffle. Our next exercise is going to be back to that high plank row plus the side star. 5 seconds left. And start up. Row that dumbbell up to your shoulder. Rotate those shoulders up. Press that dumbbell above that shoulder. Then rotate back down. Cross over to the other side. Just keep alternating back and forth. Make sure you get a really nice clean row. Elbow out to the side as you pull it up to that shoulder. Rotate those shoulders open and then press straight up above that shoulder, getting those arms in a straight line from wrist to wrist. Just keep alternating back and forth. Keep those core muscles really nice and tight. Make sure you don't let those hips droop down or start kicking up into the sky. Just keep that motion going as controlled as you can. 5 more seconds to go. And let it relax. Go ahead and stand back up for that active rest. We got another round of those 5 pulses in a jump squat. 5 more seconds till we start. And begin. Squat down in those pulses. Keep those hips nice and low. Then a nice hard jump. Remember, 5 pulses and a jump squat. Keep that back nice and flat the entire time. Keep those hips as low as you possibly can the entire time. Now focus on keeping those core muscles nice and tight. Keep those lungs open. You're going to have a tendency to want to hold your breath, so make sure you're breathing normally, and you make sure that you push 100% into every single time you do that jump squat. Just keep it going. Keep that form as clean as you can. Just 5 seconds left. Keep it going. 100% effort on that jump squat. And let it relax. Good job. All right, we've got a little bit of a water break coming up here. Hit pause if you need a little bit more rest. Got about a minute until you start back in. All right, our water break is almost done. Let's go ahead and get ready to start back in. Our next exercise is going to be a Switchfoot Runner. So again, 40 seconds. You're going to be moving those feet back and forth, switching them back and forth as quickly as you can. And start up. Staying down in kind of a lunge position, so keeping those hips nice and low, both those knees bent. One leg is going to stay back behind you, the other one's going to be bent in front. That rear leg, you're going to drive that knee up towards your chest. Nice quick motion, and then kick it back behind you again. Switch those feet, do the same thing on that opposite leg, and then switch back. This is a really, really quick motion, so drive those feet as fast as you possibly can. Keep those core muscles nice and tight, keep that back nice and flat, and again, try to keep those hips low. So you want to keep those knees bent the entire time, especially that front knee, trying to stay nice and low to the ground. Now we're almost done. Keep going just a little bit more. And let it relax. Good job. Let's go ahead and get ready for our next exercise. This next one coming up is going to be a lateral jump plus a knee. So jumping left to right, then pull one knee up in front of you, again tucking it to your chest, and then going back the opposite direction. And go ahead and start up, jumping to the left, drive that rear knee, that trailing leg up towards that chest, then jump back the opposite direction. Again, that trailing leg is going to come up towards that chest. Make sure you're moving really nice and quick. You're going to have a little bit of a problem with balance on this one just because of the momentum moving left to right, but try to make sure you're keeping it under control as best you can while still moving as fast as possible. Again, always keep those core muscles nice and tight. Always keep those lungs open, breathing normally as much as you can. Never hold your breath. Trying to make sure you're pushing 100% effort into every single motion of this, getting as far of a jump left to right as you possibly can, and moving those legs as fast as you can. And let it relax. Good job. Active rest again. Let's go ahead and get ready to move back to those Switchfoot Runners. Just about 5 seconds left till we start. And begin. One leg back behind you, dropping that front knee down, bending that knee, trying to get those hips nice and low. Remember, drive that knee up in front of you as fast as you can. Kick it back out behind you, then shuffle those feet, switch them back so the opposite leg's in front. Do the same exact motion with that opposite leg, and then start again, kicking those feet back. Make sure you're alternating back and forth as quickly as you can. Make sure you're driving that knee as quickly as you can. Keeping those abdominal muscles nice and tight. Keeping those lungs open. Trying to breathe as normally as you can while still moving as fast as possible. Got you about 10 seconds left. Just keep it going. We're almost done. And let it relax. Good job. We have one more round of the lateral jump plus a knee next. So go ahead and get ready for that. Just 5 seconds left. And start up. Nice lateral jump. Tuck that rear knee or that trailing knee up towards that chest, then jump back the opposite direction. Make sure you're moving as quickly as you can, jumping as far left to right as you possibly can. Again, make sure those core muscles stay nice and tight. Make sure those lungs are open the entire time. Just keep it going. Keep pushing through it. Make sure you're still pushing 100%. We're getting closer to being done. We only have about 5 seconds left to go, so keep pushing as hard as possible. And let it relax. Good job. Let's go ahead and move on to our next 2 exercises, starting off with 4 uppercuts, 2 hooks, and 2 ducks. This kickboxing combination is meant to be done with 100% effort, so let's go ahead and get started. Moving as quickly as you possibly can. Make sure you're putting 100% effort into each one of those swings, trying to get a really nice, good, full range of motion, keeping those muscles contracted through those arms, those core muscles, and those legs all at the same time. Now, especially with these kickboxing style routines, you're going to have a tendency to want to hold your breath. Keep constantly reminding yourself to breathe normally, keep those lungs open, but still keeping all those muscles contracted nice and tight. We've got just a few more seconds to go. Just keep pushing through it as hard as you possibly can. 10 seconds left. 5 more seconds. Keep pushing. And let it relax. Good job. Get that active rest moving. That boxer shuffle. We're moving on to our next exercise, which is going to be a scissor jack. So moving those arms and legs back and forth, just fluttering those feet back and forth, as well as swinging those arms front to back. And start up. Get it going. Nice quick motion. Try to get a nice full range of motion on those arms as well as those legs. So you want those arms coming up in front of that chest, so about shoulder height, as well as coming back behind you almost to shoulder height, just as high as is comfortable on that shoulder. Now with those legs, you want to be kicking those feet back and forth to about 2 to 4 feet apart every single time. The further you kick those feet, the harder it's going to be to get them back the opposite direction. So choose which version you want to go for, how much range of motion you can handle, but push as hard as you possibly can the entire time. Just 5 more seconds. We're almost done. Keep it going. And let it relax. Good job. Back into that active rest, that boxer shuffle. Get those feet moving. We've got another round of the 4 uppercuts, 2 hooks, and 2 ducks. 5 more seconds till we start. And begin. Swing as hard as you possibly can. Make sure you're getting a nice big full range of motion. Make sure you're pushing 100% into every single one of those punches, every single one of those motions. Keep those core muscles nice and tight. Keep those lungs open. Make sure those arms and those legs and those core muscles are constantly contracted the entire time. Now, I know your body's wanting to slow down on you, but keep pushing 100% in each one of those swings. We are almost done. Just about 5 seconds left to go. Keep pushing it. And let it relax. Go back into that boxer shuffle for that active rest. We've got another round of those scissor jacks. 5 more seconds till we start. And begin. Those feet and arms moving in opposite directions. Make sure you're getting a nice big full range of motion, swinging those arms back and forth, as well as kicking those feet back and forth. Make sure those core muscles are contracted. Make sure those arms and legs are contracted. Just keep moving as quickly as you can while still keeping everything under control. Just focus on that form. Make sure you're moving nice and quick. Focus on moving as quickly as you can. You got 10 seconds left. You want to get as much calorie burn out of this as you can, so make sure all those muscles are nice and contracted. Just a few seconds left to go. And let it relax. Good job. Let's go ahead and get ready for our next 2 exercises, starting off with push-ups. And start them up. Now remember, you can do these either off of those knees for a half push-up or off those toes for a full push-up. Just remember, do whichever version you can for as long as possible. If you want to switch back and forth between the 2, that is perfectly fine. Just try to get through this entire time limit without stopping. So you've got about 25 seconds left. Keep focusing on getting that form nice and clean, straight line from your shoulder to knee if you're doing a half version, or your shoulder to your ankle for a full version. Make sure you're getting a nice full range of motion on those arms, getting that chest down to the ground as close as you can, pressing back up to almost a full extension of that arm, keeping a little tiny bit of a bend in that elbow so that arm and chest stays contracted. And let it relax. It's your first round down, active rest, get those feet moving. Let's get ready for our next exercise, which is going to be a long jump plus 2 jumping jacks, and then we're going to turn you around and do the same thing back the opposite direction. So let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Nice long jump, 2 jumping jacks, nice and quick. Turn around, jump back the opposite direction, nice long jump, 2 jumping jacks, and again, jump back. Make sure you're putting 100% effort into that jump. You want to try to jump as far as you possibly can. Get a nice good arm swing in there to help you get a little extra momentum into it. Make sure those glutes, those quadriceps, those hamstrings are all engaging to try to get you as far forward as possible. Then stand up, 2 nice quick jumping jacks, and then back the opposite direction. Make sure you're keeping those lungs open and all those muscles nice and contracted. Just a few seconds left. Keep it going. And let it relax. Good job. All right, active rest. Get those feet moving, that boxer shuffle, that jog in place. We're moving back into those push-ups. Just 5 more seconds till we start. And begin. Remember, either half push-up or full push-up, whichever version you can control the longest. Make sure you're dropping down for a nice full range of motion. Only focus on that nice full range of motion. If you're doing a full push-up and you have to limit that range of motion, go ahead and drop onto those knees and focus on getting a nice big full range of motion on that half push-up. If you do a limited range of motion on a full push-up, you're only going to gain strength in that limited range you're using, so you'll never actually be able to progress to a larger, fuller range of motion and increase the number of repetitions you're doing. So it'll make you feel like you're actually backsliding. So always focus on a full range of motion first, and then focus on how hard you're making it. And go ahead and let it relax. Good job. Let's go ahead and go back to that active rest. We have 1 more round of that long jump plus 2 jumping jacks. Now this is our last round of interval for our routine, which means we're moving on to our cool down after this exercise. So make sure you push 100% into this one. And start up. 100% push into that jump. Nice long jump every single time. Then 2 jumping jacks. Flip it around and jump back. Nice hard jump 100% of the time. Make sure you're really working those legs. Make sure you're swinging those arms, getting as much momentum built into it as you can, trying to really focus on that full range of motion. Make sure you're keeping those lungs open. Make sure you're keeping those core muscles, arms and legs nice and tight the entire time, burning as many calories as you possibly can. You have under 15 seconds left to go. Your body's going to be trying to tell you to slow down, do the easy version, but make sure you're keeping yourself pushing as hard as you can, burning as many calories as possible. You have just a few seconds left to go. And let it relax. Good job. All right, we're going to be coming up on our cool down and stretch next. We're going to be doing roughly 15 seconds per exercise, per stretch. So let's go ahead and get ready. Let's go ahead and start our cool down with a boxer shuffle, just moving those feet back and forth. We don't want to drop that heart rate too quickly, so we're going to do just a little bit of extra cardio to keep that heart rate up there just a little tiny bit longer, but make sure you're moving just really slowly, really nice and easy, so that heart rate does actually start to drop just a little bit. Just a few more seconds, and we're going to switch off to a quad stretch, so 1 foot comes up back behind you, lean up against a wall or the back of a chair if you need to for a little extra support. That heel comes to your butt as close as is comfortable. Pull that knee back behind you. Should feel that stretch in the front of your thigh of the leg you're holding. Stand there for a little bit longer. And go ahead and switch sides. Same exact motion, heel to butt as close as is comfortable. Then pull that knee back behind you. Keep that chest straight up and down. Should feel it in the front of that thigh, maybe even into the front of that hip. And let's go ahead and switch it to a lunge stretch. So 1 leg forward, other leg back behind you. Nice full extension, dropping down as low as you can. So you should feel a stretch a little bit in the glute of that leg that's in front, as well as the front of that hip of the leg that's extended out back behind you. And go ahead and switch into a downward facing dog. Those hands should be just about shoulder width apart. Try to get a nice straight line through that leg, so lock that leg out, pressing those heels down into the ground, pressing that chest down towards those feet, so you're making a triangle off the floor. Just hold it there, breathing normally. And switch into that lunge stretch again, so the opposite leg forward this time. So again, that leg you have tucked forward, you should feel it in that butt, that glute muscle, as well as the front of that hip of the leg you have extended out straight back behind you. And switch it, we're doing a plank calf stretch. So kind of in a plank position, one foot back, the other foot kind of crossed over top, pressing that heel back down towards the ground as much as you can. You should feel this only in that calf. And same thing in that other side. Press that opposite heel down towards the ground. And let's go ahead and switch on to a modified pigeon pose. So one leg crossed in front of your body, the other leg out straight back behind you, laying over top of that body as much as is comfortable. Again, you should be feeling this in the glute of the leg that's crossed in front and the front of the hip of that leg that's stretched back behind you. Let's move to a full pigeon pose. So arch that chest up as high as is comfortable. If you need to, place those hands on the ground and give you a little bit more push, a little bit more stretch. Go ahead and switch sides. That opposite leg comes forward. The opposite leg goes back straight behind you, laying as much as you can down onto that leg you have crossed in front. Just try to let everything stretch out as much as you can. Keep those lungs open. Move to that full pigeon pose, so arch that chest up. Keep those lungs open again. And let it relax, moving back into a downward facing dog. So feet just about hip width apart, hands about shoulder width apart. Pressing that chest down towards those feet, pressing those heels into the ground. Breathe normally. And slowly move flat down against the ground, moving into a Cobra Stretch, so hands by the base of that rib cage. Stretching that chest up as high as you can, both those legs straight out back behind you. Just arch up as high as is comfortable, breathing normally. And move into our last one, which is going to be a child's pose. So sit back onto those heels, keep those lungs open, stretching those hands out away from you. Really stretch out that lower back. You might even feel it in those glute muscles as well. Just keep those lungs open, breathing normally. Hold it for just a little bit longer. And nice and slow, sit back up and let it relax. That was your last stretch, which means this workout is complete. Good job.